Alright guys, and welcome back to Morecambe. We have made it to June. As I said in the end of last week's video, I'm probably quite likely to make it this far because I was way ahead of schedule because I just kept playing, and yeah, it kind of came to backfire a little bit because I was about 3 weeks ahead of where I should be, but I've slowed things down and we're back on schedule. So, catch up, I've taken the Scotland job. I didn't really mean to take the Scotland job. I don't know why I said yes, but I did. But the good thing about it is I've now discovered that Andrew Robertson's 81 rated, and with our current left back going ending his loan period at the end of this month, we will be looking for one. And I did look at Andrew Robertson at the end of last season as our left back, but I decided not to go for him. I think they were asking a bit too much money for him, so I don't know if we'll be able to get him this month or not. But we'll have a look, and he could be a potential. It's good to know that he's 81 rated, and he can also he's got the ability to play as a left wing back as well. It's one of his preferred positions, so that's quite useful. But we don't really care about all that. We're here to find out what happened in the league, which, if we fire in here, get through all this nonsense, we came third. We managed to finish third in the Premier League with a squad that's probably really, when you look at them, capable of mid-table at best. But we managed to finish top 3. And I'm going to put it down to the fact that basically everybody in the Premier League took a season off. At least all the big teams took the season off. Man United and Chelsea decided to only take half a season off. But if you think back to back to last week's video, Man United was sitting, I think, 4th, possibly. Chelsea were top. But if you go further back than that, Chelsea were sitting mid-table, and so were the two United teams. They weren't doing too well. Sorry, two Manchester teams. Don't kill me, City. Yeah, they were both sitting sort of, I think they were sitting like 5th, 6th, or sort of in the table. Chelsea went on an absolute run, made it all the way up to the top of the table. Then Man United decided it was their turn to go on a run. They went all the way up, and they've stayed there. They've managed to win the league by a considerable gap. 10 points back to Chelsea, 7 points back to us, and then there's a 12-point gap back to Palace. And I think we did quite well. We did do well, winning 21 of our games, but we didn't really, I don't think we deserve to be where we are. I think if Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Spurs, if they had all been performing to where they should be, we would probably be maybe at best sitting 5th or 6th. So yeah, it is what it is. But well, we've got 3rd place, so that's pretty much a great thing that's happened. So thank you to all the teams that did absolutely atrociously this season. And yeah, looking down the table, you can see Southampton, they're down at 11th. They just completely dropped off. They were sitting top for quite a while at the start of the season, into sort of January. They were still up there at the very top of the table, and they've completely lost it in the second half. And you go down to the relegation, Everton are in the relegation zone. 2 points is what separates Everton and West Brom. Everton's goal difference far better, but West Brom somehow managed to sneak it out, so well done to them. 1 point gap back to back to Middlesbrough from West Brom. So they looked like prime contenders to get relegated again, because they came up with us last season. So they'd already been relegated and come back up. So they've managed to claw it on and just stay in the Premier League for another season. What'll happen next year, I don't know. Sunderland down there as well took a bit of a dive towards the end of the season. They were actually doing quite well. Last season they did really well and finished mid-table, and this season, going by the comments of David Moyes, who's still their manager for some reason, at the start of the season they were targeting top 4, or at least Europe, and well, that's not really come to fruition. They've completely dropped off and are, well, there is a bit of a gap. There's quite a significant gap from them back down to relegation, but that's still finishing 3 places above the relegation, so it's not where they wanted to be. Looking at the, I think FA Cup should come up next. There we go. We won it. We managed to beat Man United. It was an absolutely atrocious game of football in the final. We managed to win it on a penalty. I don't know, I think that was the only way I was going to win it. Man United were all over us, and I think I managed to get a counter-attack or something happened. And I was in their box, probably the one and only time I was in their box, but I was in it, and somebody absolutely munched me, and I think I got a penalty from that. So I think that's how that game happened. I can't actually remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure in saying that we got a penalty. Nothing ridiculous. I think the biggest ridiculousness of this is that only Man United and Chelsea made it to round of 16 from what you consider top teams in England. But we might have to start reconsidering what we think of as the top team in England, given that the table, Liverpool, Arsenal, City and Spurs all finished outside the European positions. So that's a thing. We won... Yeah, so Liverpool will be in Europe next season. They'll be in Europa League, given that we won the FA Cup. I don't think Arsenal will. I'm not sure. Hang on. I'm not sure how well it works. Crystal Palace. So Arsenal might find themselves Europa League football, but nevertheless, Crystal Palace won the EFL Cup, which, again, for the second year running, it's not really a tournament that's that interesting, really. I mean, is that... I can't even work out who that team is. Is that Swindon? I'm gonna have to check to find out who this team is that's made it all the way to the quarter-final. It is Swindon, yeah, I had to check it, but I was right in my assumption. It's Swindon. I have no idea what league they're in. In reality, at the moment, they're in League 2. They may be League 1. I'm not sure whether they've managed to get themselves promoted or not, but either way, that's very good going for them to make it all the way to the quarterfinals. So, yeah, very nice showing by them. Carlisle as well made it to the round of 16. Yeah, Liverpool got knocked out by Crystal Palace as well, the round of 16, 1-0. But, yeah, we did alright. We managed to make it to the round of 16, but we went out in penalties, unfortunately. Hull making it all the way to the semi-finals, so it's a bit of a missed opportunity. We could have potentially made it to the semi-finals. We would have had to play Sheffield Wednesday and then Middlesbrough, and I think we could have done pretty well against that, but it wasn't to be. Nevertheless, we won the FA Cup, so that's probably the best thing could have happened. Friendly tournaments, nothing of very much interest there, so if we get into the next one, it should be Champions League. And Barcelona won the Champions League 3-2 against Liverpool, who, well, given that Liverpool had a pretty poor season so far in the league and in the cups, they've managed to make it all the way to the Champions League final, but they did get beaten by Barcelona, so it's probably not that great. Given that they've missed out on Champions League football next season anyway, so they'll be in the Europa League next season. Yeah, unfortunate for them, but anyway. Barcelona win it. They managed to beat Roma on away goals by the looks of things as well in the semi-final. Liverpool beating PSG. Anything ridiculous? Juventus put out Man City. Inter putting out Celtic. Barcelona 3, Man United 3. That's pretty impressive. That's the away goals as well that Barcelona would have gone through on. So they went through 2 games, Barcelona, on away goals to get to the final. Bayern Atletico 3-2, it's a bit of a pretty decent looking match. And Chelsea get put out in away goals by Roma. Real Madrid aren't there. Right, we're going to have to find out where Real Madrid went, because how they're not in the... made it to the round of 16, I have no idea. Right, where are they? They got put out by Inter and Olympiacos. So they're in the Europa League. But how did Real Madrid? They won 2 games, but they lost 4. Inter won all of their games. That is ridiculous. Olympiacos put out Real Madrid. Wow. Just wow. Anyway, go back into that. We'll have a look at the Europa League next, and see what happened there. And Tottenham have managed to win the Europa League. Where's Real Madrid? They didn't even get to the round of 16, they got knocked out in the round of 32. This game doesn't show round of 32, so I have no idea, no way of seeing who they got knocked out by, but they got knocked out in the round of 32. Anyway, yes, Spurs win the Europa League. Anything ridiculous? Nothing that ridiculous. Monaco put out Arsenal 3-1, and then put out... wait a minute. Sunderland made it to the semi-finals of the Europa League. It's ridiculous. Anyway, beat Anderlecht Valencia and then got put out by Monaco, but that's because they won the EFL Cup last season. Anyway, that's Europa League. I just want to check the Spanish league now. I want to see what's happened. I'm not going to go through every league, but I'm just wanting to see what happened in the Spanish league, just to find out where Real Madrid went and what happened to them. Because it seems extremely strange that they lose in the Champions League, get knocked out, and then to drop into the Europa League and get knocked out in the round of 32 in the Europa League as well. I went the wrong fucking way. We'll get there eventually, boys. Come on. Almost. One more. There we go. Right. They came second, 4 points behind Barcelona, so they had a pretty decent domestic season. Going by the league at least, don't know about the cups, but they just completely imploded in the European scene. So yeah, that's the thing. So yeah, interesting, but nevertheless, that's pretty much everything that's happened this season. And I think what I'll do now is end the video. I think I'll end the video. I was going to go to next week and go to the transfer deadline day and see what's happening, but I think this video's probably stretched on enough. So yeah, I'll end the video here, and next week we'll be into transfer deadline day in the summer transfer deadline day. Anyway, that was some awful English. Anyway, right, yeah, so I'll see you then, and until next week, cheerio.